Hello. Right. Go away.
It's gobshite tonight. Show respect, don't start a fight. With all the gimmicks you love to see, and some jokes under Slippery's Kennedy. So grab a drink and do what's right. All the cool kids are watching gobshite tonight.
Hello there. Welcome to Gobshite Tonight presents the pre-season team overview. I'm joined by Vince. Hello, Vince.
Hi, Jack. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone in chat. I can see we've got George, we've got Liam, we've got Jojo. Whammo will be joining us soon, but we don't know exactly when. So we're just going to start without him, which will be absolutely fine. It doesn't add much anyway. Vince, how have you been? We'll fill a bit of time. How have you been, Vince? Congratulations on the baby.
Oh, thank you very much. Quite all right. Really, I'm getting a sense of what fragmented nights means, which is fine. But we're very happy and very enthralled with her. So it's as hard as people tell you it will be, but it's nice to go through it because of course it's your kid. So yeah, it's all good so far.
Oh, well, that's lovely. Isn't that heartwarming? Anyway, let's move on to the next slide. Season 9 and the Italy 34 World Cup cycle's complete. So Real Madrid were very, very good. Isn't that nice?
Yes. It was a really cool World Cup cycle, I have to say, because the first one we kind of set up in the middle of it. So, like, I believe we started doing it after season 3 or 4, keeping track of it after season 3 or 4. So it's like the first World Cup cycle we go through, where from start to finish we know what's happening. So yeah, it's quite cool. And fun fact about this: if the Manx in Black, if Jake had that record 4.81 in the previous World Cup cycle, they would have won it by quite a margin. And I believe, to me, it's really testimony to the performance Cyril has had across the whole World Cup cycle. So that's pretty cool.
That is wild. I didn't know that. That is a cool stat. Liam says, I think you'll find I was the best team. You were. You did very, very well. But you also only participated in half of it. So you don't get to win. Congratulations to Hadley, who was going to be here tonight, but because we moved it from Tuesday to Thursday, he's now playing Blood Bowl and can't join us. So that's unfortunate. But congratulations to Hadley. I'm sure he'll catch up with us. All right.
I'm sure.
I think I definitely deleted the slide about where we're going next. I think we're going to Fiji. I just couldn't be bothered. So let's jump straight into it with Surreal, shall we? You know what I haven't actually done in no preparation? 2 secs. We need... We need a... What's it called? The rank... Is it rank anything?
Oh, pardon, I haven't prepared it. I'm so sorry.
Haven't got...
Okay, bear with me. I'm gonna make the tier maker. It should be.
Have we not got one from last year? It's the same.
Yeah, we should. It's the exact same teams, isn't it?
Yeah, exact same teams.
So yes.
Yeah.
Just bear with.
Let's see if we can find this link.
Bear with, and I'll send you the link to it in a sec. Season
tier
9,
maker. I've got it.
And do you? Okay.
Yeah, I've got it here. Cool.
And I can make a season 10 dedicated one if needed, because it's the same teams. I'm sure we can just use the season 9 and forget that it's written in 9. Oh, that means I can't change the name of the last one and the first one. That's fine.
Add a tier maker. Add window capture. Oh, we were doing so well for a little bit.
It wouldn't really be Gupshite if we didn't have.
Obviously something's got to go wrong, and the thing that went wrong is that we forgot to we forgot to do the thing that we're here to do. Classic. Right, back on with the presentation. My face is too big, so it's over there. This is the content I create. Thank you, George. Yeah, you're here to see us book up and have tech issues on the day. Surreal. I don't think they're quite bad this year, and they're going to continue. I mean, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like just like Hadley went on to play Blood Bowl tonight. His whole team basically just decided to, or his whole staff just decided to go on and do something else for this season, and have basically been replaced by the volunteers they could find around in Fiji. So yeah, there's going to be a team of old players. I guess that there's going to be the fun factor of seeing how many of them actually make it to retirement without being injured, for example. And other than that, I guess there's little to say apart from like they're going to be 20 years. There's going to be a fun fact about who's going to lose to them, and we're going to be able to move to the next team very quickly.
Yeah, I agree. We'll just put them there, not upset anybody, and just move right on to the. Some people said the second best team in the second best team, the Llamas. What do we think of the Llamas this year, Vince? We've been rude about the Llamas before, so we need to be
So, first things first, last time we did this, I kind of promised to myself that I would try to do my rankings beforehand.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't, so I'm gonna go free flying there again. That being said, looking at the team like that, it's true that the spine of the team looks really good. Like Kanté, De Bruyne, that's definitely a midfield to go through. If I remember correctly,
Missing SMS.
Firmino.
Oh.
The thing is, the teams that get SMS, De Bruyne, and Kanté tend to bottle it in the last bit. I don't know. That's what Liam wants to do.
Liam's good at bottling it in the last bit.
Maybe he can. Maybe he could bring that to the team.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show, Weller. You haven't missed too much. We've put Surreal in last, and also every time I change scene in OBS, the jingle keeps playing, but we can't hear it. So I'm hopefully going to get around that, even though people seem to quite enjoy it. But we're not. I've muted the jingle now, so it shouldn't happen every time I flip between the tier maker and the presentation. But yeah, this Llama's team, back on topic, seems pretty good, except for Firmino up top. Just seems like a terrible shout, and this draft has been an interesting one for a lot of people not what's the word? A lot of people not taking the best CA player because they've been historically a bit shit. Edin Dzeko, Alvaro Morata, Gonzo, like underperforming strikers have not been loved at this draft, except for Firmino, who has been got taken really, really early.
When did Firmino get taken already?
Firmino, when?
Round 3.
Round 3, yeah. It was Kevin De Bruyne, great choice. N'Golo Kante, great choice. It's like, okay, Liam's just going to take Pogba or whoever and complete the amazing 3 in midfield. And Firmino.
I mean, yeah, Firmino, yeah, I don't know. Like maybe third round pick is his place. Maybe he'll fare better with stronger midfielders behind it.
Yeah, camera froze. Don't think stream died. We're still here. So yeah, let's move on and say where are we going to put these? This camera's just not working at all. I'm removing the camera.
I think we need to learn our lessons from last year's predictions and bump Liam up to sort of like the 9, 10, 11 slots.
I could see Llamas in 9, 10, 11. That seems... Oh, do you want to go higher, Vince?
No. That's exactly where I would have put them, but with the opposite reflection. I think they've done really well for 2 seasons. And really the only team who's managed to do that well and keep at it is Surreal. Generally, when you do well for a season or 2, you fall back to middle of the pack or below after that. So, like, you either follow the stats or you acknowledge the achievements. And in both cases, it looks like we want to put them in 9, 10, 11.
Cool. Sounds good. Let's move on.
Sure, that won't be controversial at all. We will not hear the end of anything.
I can't see any issues there. The Manx in black. Good manager, Ronnie, or lots of nicknames. The Manx apparently just don't exist. We do exist. We're here.
No, Rhys is saying that because I didn't acknowledge the performance of Manx. But I'm talking about like peak level, like finished second and third. Manx have had seasons where they finished 6, 7, which is already still an amazing result across the 6 seasons they've played. But like it's not the peak level of rankings that Surreal have had last World Cup and what the Llamas have had over the past 2 seasons. But Rhys isn't exactly au fait of everything up Shite League, I know. So I understand that he might just be talking shite himself.
This lineup more like the Wanks in black, says George. I think that's harsh. I think this is a pretty good team.
I mean, it's just for Ronaldo up top. Like he buys you, he nearly buys you a spot in the first half.
Yeah. Basically. What Jake's done is he's spotted that last season a large thing that like was the success for Liam was having Kyle Walker crossing for Ronnie. And so he's just drafted that himself, but he's also got the really cool double pivot of Modric.
Very nice.
Yeah. But I think, having Modric and Rodri is a really good sort of, sitting pair. Modric is really, really good at pinging balls forward. Rodri is obviously a very good destroyer. And then, I think his forward line, other than Ronnie, is a bit crap, but Ronnie alone makes up for it, right? He always scores loads and loads of goals.
Seems like it.
I agree as well.
Chat is saying Bastoni should be on the left side of centre-back. That's what happens if you don't send your lineup. I make it, and I don't give a shit. Reese has said, this team would be better if they swapped Ronnie and Lorenzo. Sure. And
I don't know. With today's Ronnie, I don't know. Like with 3 or 4 years ago Ronnie, maybe. But with today's Ronnie, I don't know.
Keep in mind, it's not today's Ronnie. It's like last year's Ronnie. Ronnie's been playing left wing in all the teams where he's been doing really well, basically.
Yeah.
Was he playing left wing at Juventus? Was he not number 9?
Oh, I meant in Gobshite.
Oh, pardon.
Don't ask me real football.
Yeah. So, where are we putting the Manx on this table? In the kind of traditional 3-4-5 slot?
We can put them there. I think the other thing we didn't talk about is A, they've got one of the good managers, and B, they've got like consistently one of the very best goalkeepers and a really good centre-back pairing. So like they won't concede many goals, and they've got Ronaldo. So I think 3-4-5 is the lowest we can put them realistically.
Seems good to me. Seems good.
A good shot at the title this year.
Okay. Maybe pushing higher. Moving on to the Pigs with some Gasparini ball at the start of the World Cup cycle. That's gone well before.
Yeah.
I've not switched my presentation back. So, Zlatan, Werner, Hazard, that's a hell of a front three. SMS Rabiot. I can read all the names. It's an interesting. I like the back. I like the back five in the midfield. I'm not sure about anything else further up top.
I'm enjoying the George commenting. Like the moment that Gasparini is drafted as a manager for not Weasels, George is immediately super judgmental over every choice. And it's wonderful to see.
Fears for Gasparini's life. So, George, do you think this might be a good team for not Gasparini ball, or do you just think this seems a bit shit? I'll wait for him to comment in like a minute's time. But yeah, I think Zlatan, Hazard, and Werner I can't see how many goals it scores, because I don't think any of them have had really standout seasons in FM.
Hazard has had good seasons, but not stand out. But the thing is here, like when you look at a team like this, like 3 at the back with 2 wing backs that can be good at pushing forward and crossing into the box, which is basically where Zlatan feels best. And if Zlatan can be the the focus point at the top, Hazard and Werner are good around this. SMS and Rabiot should do okay in midfield. And the defense really is Skriniar is good, of course. Langley and Araujo, should be good enough. I mean, I see it as a decent team. I would very much see it above the cut. I don't know that it would be much better.
Okay, above the cut. What do you think, Wanna?
More or less agree. I mean, yeah, like Werner is going to have to do the running for 3 people. But if there's any striker who's not completely terrible who can do that, it's probably Timo Werner. Basically, the team is going to live or die by how much they require Zlatan to do other than nodding in headers. I think Yeah, where you've got them there, 6, 7, 8 looks about right to me. They might do better, but that's sort of like the safe zone to put them in, I think.
Yeah. And Joe,
Johannes has pointed out he's banking on Zlatan getting injured for at least part of the season and then having Raul Jimenez do the running, which, to be fair, would immediately transform the side, I think.
yeah. And Joja also pointed out that Hazard scored 17 for him in season 8, which is not to be sniffed at. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, 6, 7, 8 for the time being.
Yeah, I have to say regarding Zlatan, I've been doubtful of him the whole of FM21, and each season I think I've been told that he performed better than I thought he had. So like that's why I'm also tamed about criticizing this side of the front three here.
Last season is the first season in all of Gobshite history where Zlatan has got a double-digit number of goals. And he hasn't played that much. Of course, but he's never really been a starter. Like very often in most teams, he was either coming in at the last in the last part of the game, or he was playing when the other starting striker was injured. So when you put his playtime, he's usually good for about 30 goals. The bigger issue is that he gets knackered after 60 minutes and gets subbed off. So he gets a fair amount of appearances, but not as many minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I'm curious. I do have hopes for this team.
Cool. Let's move on then to the Ducks. How are we getting on with the Ducks this year? They Claude and the boys are back, and yeah, Martial, Big Maxi been replaced, bolstered by Big Duvan, who does nothing, does something, does disappoint, doesn't disappoint. One of them is a Manchester striker, post Manchester, so he's probably going to score like 20 goals, which will be nice. Yeah. What do we think of the Ducks?
It's a 3 or 5 at the back formation with probably 2 of the best wing backs in the game, Hakimi and Davis.
Yeah.
Is Hakimi not that good? I can't realize in FM21 how good he is, but like the 2 names sound really, really good on paper at least. So if they are not injured, it's a team that has the potential to be good. Now Marshall has ins and outs seasons. Will he really have an in-season? It's hard to tell. Luis Alberto is always there, of course, but Vertu and Herrera have been okay, I guess. But I don't know. It's not a team that looks like top half to me.
I mean, it's almost identical to the team that Reece has had title challenges with the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Like Davies and Hakimi as wing backs, 3 good centre backs, having Herrera in midfield, having Luis Alberto in that attacking midfield role, and then having strikers that aren't like great names but just pair really well in the system. Like this is the 3rd season in a row that Reece has done this. It's quite remarkable how many of the players from his title-winning side he's been able to bring back post-reset. You'd have thought more people would be trying to pilfer them, to be honest. The goalkeeper, it's worth saying, is Bernd Leno, which is about as some rando as it gets in Gobshite League. And I do think he's one of the weaker first-choice goalkeepers in the league. But I don't think that's enough to take them out of the being solid top half for me.
Cool. So are we saying solid top half? Where are they? Los Patos. In the 3-4-5 or 6-7-8? What do we think?
For me, yes, one of those.
I
think above the pigs, below the Manx.
Above the pigs, below the Manx.
Yeah.
We'll go there. That'll be fine.
Are you okay with that, Vince? Because I know I just basically said the exact opposite of what you did.
I don't feel too strongly about it. I would place them closer to 9-11. That's just me.
Yeah. Well,
I don't mind 3-4-5. I don't mind 3-4-5.
Wing backs are great. Yeah. All right. Moving on from the Ducks. Then we're not messing around tonight. We're flying through this. Let's talk about the Chilean menace. Francisco, you're here in time for us to talk shit about your team. What do we think of the Chilean menace? James, you can start this time.
I think it's very, very optimistic of Francisco to have put Kimmich in midfield. I don't know who's actually meant to be the backup for Kimmich, who's going to start instead of whatever right back Francisco has in mind. But yeah, Kimmich will be a right back. To be honest, I think Francisco has drafted better. I think this is going to be one of the seasons where he's less strong, just because the good players are mostly in the positions that I don't think are as important. Like, I think having one good centre-back in a back two just usually doesn't decide too much in Gobshite. Like, Matip is still good as well, but he's not as good as the Fridge. You know, it's not, you don't look at the defence and just think, oh, well, no one's going to be able to score past this, which is a problem when Francisco's first 3 picks were goalkeeper, midfielder who's going to actually be a right back, and centre back. And then you look at the strikers and like top 10, you know, it's going to be in his top 10 seasons, but I don't know how high up it's going to be because he's so inconsistent. Like, some seasons he looks really good, some seasons he looks really crap, often when I've drafted him. And the attacking midfield line are full of players that probably Francisco would rather have be backups than first choice, as evidenced by the fact that he's marked 2 of them as backups anyway. So yeah, I think they will probably sort of bubble on the cut, is my guess. Like, maybe just the wrong side of it.
That seems accurate. I'd say they look to me like a team that gets onto the right side of the cut, but then struggles after that. What do you think?
Francisco's pointed out in the chat that the Fridge and Matip were his centre-back pairing when he won the double. Which
is quite a flex.
Yeah, fair play. But he had Mbappe there. He doesn't have Mbappe this time. That's going to be my comeback that can't then be come back again from.
Yeah. So where are we putting them? Chilean menace.
Sorry, I'll let Vince.
Oh yeah, Vince. Do you want to make any points?
To be very honest, I would very much agree with that. Like, the strength of this team seems to be more the defense. Offensively speaking, there is no after that top picks. Top 10 might have a good season, who knows, but they will likely need this in order to make the cut and rank correctly there. I would place them just below the cut, somewhere between like 11 and 14.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to drop them in this kind of 8-9 area with the Llamas for now, and we'll see. We'll see what happens, and as we go through some more.
That looks like Prime. At the end of this stream, we've got too many high up and not enough low down. They get bumped down 1 tier territory.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Definitely possible. All right, let's talk about. Oh, it's one of the host teams. It's Le Ball de la Foot. So Vince,
oh yay!
Justify yourself. What?
The first thing to say is this is the draft I've put the least thoughts in since the beginning of Gobshite, just for various reasons. I was kind of picking players when my time came without really thinking too much about it, and I believe for that reason that kind of matched what I was doing in season 1. I was wondering before the season whether I should go 2 at the top and picking Fekir, or if I should go for a Zinedine Zidane type of World Cup cycle. And because Fekir has been taken round 2 or something like this, it kind of very quickly brought me towards the Zinedine Zidane route. To be very honest, I don't know what to think of this team. I do think the overall is the Mane Benzema Dembele triangle finds the same type of pace they had in season 1, it can be a good season. If they don't, our back four is really average to mediocre in terms of Gottschalk. So I don't know. Yeah, that's basically what I would say for the moment. What do you guys think?
Well, as Chat has pointed out, I like your midfield three, and I think Mane has always got the potential to be very dangerous in the FM21 engine. Boateng is quite a pick, and the back four is just as we pointed out in the weaknesses. The back four is probably a little lacking because you've put a lot of early picks on the kind of attacking and midfield. So yeah, it's we've just looked at a lot of teams where, especially coming straight after. Did we come straight after the Ducks? Or yeah, we've just looked at a lot of teams that put a lot of emphasis on getting a really good defence at the expense of a big name attacking trio. Whereas this feels the opposite, but also without a good striker.
Yeah, and I know, Vince, that you had the season where Benzema was great. Like, if you have another season where Benzema is great, then you will be fine. If you have like one of Mane's best seasons, like the season Mane had for you last time you drafted him, when he was just amazing and you almost won the league. If Mane is that good, then you may well almost win the league again. But unless you get like Mane's best season or Benzema's best season, I don't think you'll score enough goals. You'll still score some, but I don't think you'll score enough to make up for how comparatively weak the back four is.
I totally hear that. I have to say, when I drafted Benzema mainly because when Fekir has been taken, I then went the Zinedine Zidane route, and I was simply thinking that maybe there is some sort of connection between that manager and Benzema in the game, and that might be the manager to make the most of that player.
Well, we will find out. Where do we want to put them on the 12, 13, 14?
I would also like to seize that opportunity to point out the fact that amongst all the teams that I've completed both World Cups, La Borde de la Foot ranks number one in terms of performances across the World Cup.
Out of interest, other than season one, how have you done in the seasons where you've had Benzema? So let me have a quick look. Season 3, I think, was when I had Benzema as well. Season 5, you had him, right?
Possibly. I had him in season 3. I had him in season. Hold on, please bear with. Season 3, season 5. I believe that's it. I don't think I've had him since then. So 3 and 5. Let's go and have a quick look.
I'm having a look on his player sheet. I see Nicky had him for the entirety of the last World Cup cycle, and across an entire World Cup cycle as a starting striker, he got 26 goals.
Well, let's just just jump back to that World Cup cycle screen, shall we?
So I had him in season 3 and 5. Season 3, I finished 3rd, and season 5, 15th. So make of that what you want.
Oh, there they are. So I was struggling to find it with my mouse, and also my fat face is in the way. That's where 4 seasons of Benzema gets you. Anyway, that's just a bit of childishness.
Yeah. Since FM21, since we made the move from 20 to 21, Benzema has averaged 6 goals a season, which you kind of want more from your lead striker.
Yeah.
Well, you never know what might happen. Arkadiusz Milik might just make it to the pitch.
Yeah.
Milik we trust. Okay.
All right. That is that's enough of that. Where are we putting La Borde de la Foot? I've dropped them in 12, 13, 14. Should they be higher? Should we drop them a little bit lower, or is that about right?
I wouldn't be I wouldn't be angered if you dropped us to 18-19, really. Like, I understand that our defense is questionable, and I understand that our attack is questionable. That's a lot of questions for a team that wants to compete with the best in the world.
That is, like, for me, they're in the 15, 16, 17. I think 18, 19 is probably too low. What have you done to the tier thing?
I remember that last time we did 11 and 12 in here because of the cut.
Clean cuts. Okay.
So just thought I'd do that kind of thing live on air.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah,
cool.
if you drop us in 15, 16, 17, I wouldn't be angered. I don't realize if there are other teams that have kind of trolled the season on us. But yeah.
There are definitely worse teams that we're going to come to soon.
Yes.
Millwall with their footload of midfielders. Again, this is another lineup that I made because Mark didn't provide us with one. So we don't actually know how this is going to shake out, especially with, I'm fairly sure Allegri's a boring 4-2-3-1. But we'll find out. Or is this narrow diamond with two up top? What do we think of Millwall? If anyone wants to have a guess.
Just to quickly key you in, Allegri has a preferred formation of the 4-3-3, like the flying V. His second preferred formation is 4-2-3-1, and his defensive formation is 5-3-2 with a DM rather than an attacking midfielder. So none of those formations really fit. I guess you could have the 5-3-2 and play Fernandinho as a third defender.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. And of his two actual favoured formations, he only plays one striker. So who knows?
Hell of a year to not draft any wingers. Or yeah. But they'll probably still finish in the top side of the cup, but I'm less confident about that this year than I would be. Slap, trying to predict Millwall seasons is a fool's errand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And slap Dilver and Felix out wide. I suppose that's doable.
Yeah. Felix on the right, Dilver on the left, and then you've got the flying V. Which
I'm just putting it together. I'm just putting it together quickly. It shouldn't be too far from what you just said.
But yeah, lots of strength in depth for those that midfield three, I guess.
Love it. Right, let's jump back onto the tier maker and whack them in their obligatory 8th spot and move on.
Yeah. I don't want to even attempt to figure out where that team finishes because Millwall.
Cool.
If you just want to have a quick look, I still have just put it in the presentation.
Oh.
As a flying V. I might have messed up the midfield 3, but yeah.
Oh.
It looks close enough.
Oh no. We've gone too far. Millwall. Start. Presenter view is what we need. Having all the fun. Here we are. Right, yeah. It's still exciting.
Remind me, how old is David Silva these days?
Not quite eligible for Hadley's team, but pretty old.
Okay.
36, I think.
Yeah. Getting within move to the MLS territory.
Could I argue to place them below the cut then? As much as I love their back four and I wish I had their wing backs or yeah.
He starts the save as 34 years old.
Yeah.
I'll let you argue that, Vince. You can argue him down into 11th, but they make the cut a lot. think.
I'm gonna protest having them below the Menace and the Llamas.
Oh,
Are you saying
well.
we should bring the Menace and the Llamas further below?
Yeah, that'll annoy them. Sure. Yeah, let's go with that.
Cool. Right, let's. I just realised I did all that shuftying about without any. While we're on the wrong screen. But now we've got Newell in 9-10, Llamas and Menace in 11-12, and we're getting on to WBA. Wedge just, after making the cut with one of the what we called a joke team last time, they've got a Christmas tree.
Who's the GK one?
Wedge is goalkeeper is
The two Villarreal goalkeepers.
Yeah, Sergio Asenjo. Wait, no. I've confused myself now. Yeah, the two Villarreal goalkeepers.
Yeah. Reese says, I love Wedge, this team kind of sucks.
Do we know that Wedge is going to pick a manager that plays Christmas tree?
I mean, given they submitted the formation, we can safely assume Wedge is very considered with their managerial picks.
Okay. In that respect, I do like it. I'm curious to see if the formation will help the team, because I might be wrong, but I wouldn't rate their defensive unit too highly. I can't remember Coutinho having had a stand-up season in Gopshite. Central Thiago as an offensive midfielder. But Lukaku is great. I love Fabinho. I don't know. I would see them below the cut, ultimately.
Yeah, again, I know we make the joke, but we make it because it's true. Who is the actual backup midfielder for when Fabinho inevitably plays at right back?
Surely it's Thiago drops back again. I don't know.
Yeah, and then Danny Parejo or someone comes in.
Yeah, that'll be fine. So where are we putting WBA? Are we whacking them in 13, 14? Are we about that?
I'd go about where Le Ball de la Foot.
15, 16. Interesting. Cool.
Lukaku is great, but I don't feel like the team is set up to really leverage his strengths. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm saying, they're good, but they're not the kind of player you want to build, I have a good habit of, blessing players by doing that.
Yes, you do. We'll come on to that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got an exciting one coming up soon. It is the Pocket Dogs. I think this is, just to begin with, what the fuck is this lineup? Red on pink, circles instead of kits. It's fucking disgusting. And if Calvin does it again, I'm going to make Reece delete him from the league. But the only thing probably more disgusting than this is how good the team is.
Yeah. I mean, what's there to say? It's obviously amazing. You've got the Kane-Sane link up.
Yeah.
You've got a name who has had an astonishingly huge 18 months in Corona. An amazing midfield trio, great goalkeeper. Don't look too strongly at the centre backs. It's amazing.
I mean, don't look too strong. Red on pink. That's all I can think about when I'm looking at this. It's just, why can't I see the numbers properly? Liam thinks the midfield is weak. I don't think it's that weak. I think that if anything, it reminds me of the Barcelona midfield that dominated the league when they won, where none of them were necessarily the best midfield, but complemented each other really, really well. Admittedly, that was a Pep team. This is a Klopp team, so Well, Vince, come on, give us some reasoned opinions on this.
I don't know if it's going to be very reasoned, but I very much am leaning towards Liam. I do think the back four isn't that great. I heard that Suda is doing very well in FM21. It certainly a top goalkeeper. Midfield is after that unappealing, not bad, not great, just unappealing. And yeah, there is the Kane Sané liaison, but to me that's a team that's going to be just around the cup. But that is if their usual magic doesn't work for them, of course.
Yeah.
It's also the same with Harry Kane. He has, since FM21, he's actually been a really good pick, with the only exception being the season that Mate had him, when he was weirdly shit. But all the other FM21 seasons, Kane's been genuinely really good.
That seems about right. Yep. Double digits every other season except the season at Manchester where he... Yeah, rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. Anyway, we're not dicking on Manchester yet, but that's to come. I've just put the Pocket Dogs in top because that's what we do on this show. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's move on from the Pocket Dogs and talk about the Brigstock Big Cocks. A surprise package last year? No, they weren't a surprise package last year. They didn't make the cut, but they were comfortably the best team on the wrong side of the cut.
Yeah, they were like 7th a couple of game weeks before the split, and then they bottled it. Just barely missed the split on like head-to-heads, and then took out their righteous anger on the rest of the bottom half, and finished with enough points to effectively have been 4th if you ignore the fact that they still had all their difficult games left to play, and the teams that finished above them still had all the the scrubs to beat on.
George says a BBC team that isn't quite like every other BBC team. I can agree with that. Yeah, it does. It's like Dave's been paying attention for 10 seasons and gone, I don't have to just draft like Johnny Evans and Messi. He exists. So I quite like this team. I can see it making the cut this time. Pochettino's a good manager, probably a manager who's getting a boost going into the next year as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do like the BBC in general, but I have to say, I look at the team here, and apart from Messi, they are. I don't see any standouts. Like, I'm trying to look like Gomez, maybe. I can't see any FM Football Manager 21 standouts apart from Messi, which leads me to think he's been picked way too early in the draft, and I realize I don't know when he's picked. He's been picked in round 5, pick number 5, which I think is still too early for Messi. And the team, I think, is going to suffer from the fact that there aren't enough good players around Messi to really make it work. So I would see them number 10 or 11.
Wow. What do you think, Weller? 10, 11? Does that...
I really don't know. Like, the problem is, right, that I do quite like one thing that you've forgotten, Vince, there with your summary, is that their Spanish centre-back is really good on FM21. Like, he's one of like the 3 or 4 best centre-backs in the database.
Which one, Gomez or Laporta?
The Spanish one, Laporta. Him and Gomez is actually a really strong defensive unit, and then especially with 2 like more sort of like destroyer-minded centre mids ahead, I quite like their defensive unit. For me, they'll like, occasionally when we're watching the streams and a half will go by and someone, often me or George, will comment in the Twitch chat, like thrilling half that. I can see this team being the team that's in those games quite a lot.
Yeah, I can see a lot of boring wins here. And yeah, we would like to apologise. Laporta and Joe Gomes, not Gomez. So apologies to our international viewers. Right, where are we dropping them? I put them in 10th at the minute because I think that's probably where they are. But I also tempt maybe jump them up into 8th and bump Reece up as well, because we are running out of teams.
Sure, we can do that and have a fiddle at the end.
That's what I was planning on doing off stream, but
well, hey.
Right. Anyway, that's enough of that. Who have we got next? Arbor Red. Ooh. Carvin has spotted his spit, says Reece. Don't really know what that means. Arbor Red. Yeah, this is another one where I made the formation, so if anything's wrong, I don't really care. What do we think?
Well, I have to say it's one of the teams I like.
Yeah?
That's one of the teams I like. The centre-backs, Ramos and Marquinhos, probably two of the best in the game. I don't know how they rank next to Laporta, but certainly two of the best in the game. Llorente, good. Aubameyang can have good seasons when he's supported correctly, and Son and Havertz look good to me. For me, that's a team that's going to make the cut. Now, I see Alves as right back. I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, for me, it's a team that's going to make the cut, and I wouldn't be surprised if they compete for a place in the top 5.
For reference, I've just looked it up. Obviously, if there's one thing we've learned, it's that with the sole exception of the Pocket Dogs, we shouldn't focus on CA. But purely basing it off that, the order of top centre-backs in the game is Van Dijk first, then Ramos, then Alaba, then Laporta, then Varane, then Fabinho, then Marquinhos. So Ramos and Marquinhos, you've got the 2nd and 7th best centre-backs in the game by current ability.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I like Son out the front four. Aubameyang, Havertz and Gnabry are all slightly flaky for gobshite. I feel like sometimes they have really good seasons and sometimes they kind of just flake out. But with 3 of them like that, the odds are at least 1, probably 2 will have good seasons, which alongside Son is enough that you expect them to score lots of goals. They've got a really good centre-back pairing with Handanovic behind. Alba's good. Alves, move on. I really like this team. I think they should make the top half. Oh wait, no. Yeah, Reece has just pointed out we need to also factor in.
I was about to say it is also Bielsa, so it might start like this. It might start as 4-3-3. At some point in the game, it's going to go 4-2-4, and everyone is going, and they're going to score loads of goals or concede loads of goals. But I'm glad that Arbor Red are getting back their gimmick from Mike of being the Bielsa team. Are Oliveira and Llorente a good enough midfield duo? We will find out. But yeah, the consensus in the chat seems to be the battering everyone on the wrong side of the cup. And
yeah, with Bielsa, I think that sounds about right. FM21 just cannot replicate his unique managerial style in a way where you expect them to consistently do well enough to make the cut.
Cool, right, I'm whacking them in at 11. And we'll move on to who's next.
I love how little by little the Llamas are falling down the rankings again.
Well, we've got a couple of things to do on this. We've got to put the Pocket Dogs first, and we've got to underrate the Llamas. It's, we chat for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and we underrate the Llamas and overrate the Pocket Dogs. That's what we're here for. That's what the audience wants.
The only other thing we need to do is find a team that Reece doesn't like to put one spot above the Ducks. That's the only other thing on the checklist.
All right, moving on to Barcelona, the Falling Giants. Have they stopped the rot with this one, or are they still kind of stuck in their post-World Cup cycle winning pepless glut. What do we think? James, you can go first this time.
Sure. I mean, like, you look at the team, and obviously the thing that sticks out is, again, a pair of really, really good centre-backs. They are, since I've still got it up, they are 8th and 9th best by current ability, with Alisson behind, who obviously is one of the top goalkeepers in the game. The midfield, again, kind of has that Barcelona Season 4 vibe to it of, it's not good, but like as individuals, like compared to the standard of the Gobshite League, but I think as a trio it looks pretty, effective. Like I don't think it will wow people. I think that it will be better than you might think when you first look at it. I think Sandro and Javas are, they tick the box of being, Alex fucking Sandro and Javas tick the boxes of being acceptable fullbacks. Like, they're not outstanding, but they're not gonna be what makes this team good, but they're not gonna make it bad either. I think Aguero has been real patchy in FM21, and I think more importantly was a terrible pick as the first one of round 2, when there were so many amazing players that Stefan could have just gotten on lock for the entire cycle, and he picked someone who's going to take a heavy drop when we get to FM22. I thought that was a bizarre choice. And then Chiesa and Correa are, they're uninspiring picks. You can tell that Stefan left them quite late in his draft order. They'll do fine. They won't do amazing. I think overall the team will do fine, not amazing.
Oh, Stefan says it was his farewell to Aguero to pick him at that point. Which, yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
I have no time for sentiment.
George says eyebrows gonna die brows, and Reese agrees. Vince, have you got anything you want to add in here?
Not much really. Like, this is the type of team that, if it was in real life, I would really like to see, because I find it very exciting. The defensive unit is very strong, and the attacking unit is full of promises, with one veteran striker who still has a bit to give. But as James said, in FM21, Aguero hasn't been great. Like, I would see them hovering just below the cut today.
All right, let's whack them in the tier maker then. Open the right window. That's not the right window. Tier maker, Barcelona. We're whacking them in here, just in 9/10th. I feel like they might be closer to 13-14, but
yeah, I was going to say 13-14.
That's where I think they sit for me, and we'll just move on and hopefully not do too much shuffling. AFC Martyrs, they've been bad for a long time. Are they good now? What do we think? Vince, you can talk about your compatriots team first.
Well, I have to say I do like the team a lot. Like, there are a number of players in this team that I wish I had. Mainly Theo Hernandez, Wijnaldum, Di Maria, and of course Mbappe. I think it's a good team, really. Thiago Silva is definitely good. Yeah, I think it's a very potent team for this season to come, and I wouldn't be surprised if they fight for this 3 to 6 spot.
Yeah, James, you coming in with some cold water? Chat seems to think they're pretty good. Where are you landing on them?
I think they'll be in the top half, but won't challenge for the title. That's where I have them. I have them, somewhere in like the 6 to 9 sort of region. I think the team, like, De Gea is consistently a pretty damn good goalkeeper in Gobshite. I think that while Nicky left the back four quite late in drafting them, he's got pretty good value there. Like, Diego Carlos stands out as not being very good in FM compared to a lot of other players. But like Theo Hernandez, Odriozola, they're pretty damn good fullbacks given when Nicky took them. Thiago Silva is a pretty damn good centre-back given when Nicky took him. I think that Mbappe can just, like, as George showed when he drafted him last year, Mbappe just sometimes will just win games just like that. And the three behind him are all varying levels of good. And the midfield is good. So yeah, I think that the only thing that they're really lacking is, like, unless Griezmann has like one of his better seasons, I think that they might be relying on Mbappe for goals, and I think that the defense is a little patchy, as you'd expect, compared to, you know, the teams that drafted their defense super early and prioritized having amazing centre backs. I think that, yeah, they'll be shipping goals, but they should be scoring a fair few. I think they'll shit the bed in enough games that I don't think they'll make a challenge for the title. But I like the team.
Cool. In which case, I've dropped them in at 6th, and we'll move on from there. We'll say bye to Francisco, who has to go. And also, Stefan has said he won't be able to watch much of the season because he's been called back into the office. And as someone who has also been called back into the office and missed a lot of last season, that's rubbish. So, unlucky, Stefan. You won't get to watch your team with Aguero being disappointing. Probably.
Thank you, Francisco. I'm sorry to hear that, Stefan.
Alright, let's go back. That's the wrong title screen. And talk about the Weasels. Ooh. The fucking Weasels. I think this is a really good team. And
I've been very gutted to see Fekir go so early. I love the story behind Fekir's ascension in FM21, but I'm definitely gutted to see him go so early.
Yeah, worth noting, incidentally, the some schmuck in goal is Livakovic, who is consistently a pretty fine shot stopper. I don't think he's like, you know, he's not going to be like an Edison Allison type, but then FM doesn't really, you know, simulate that all that effectively anyway.
Ice whacking balls into Chiro, Lazari whacking balls into Chiro, Ward-Prowse again whacking balls into Chiro. This is a really, really good team, and if we hadn't already seen the Dogs, I'd be putting them straight in at first, but we've already seen the Dogs, even though they were quite difficult to read. But yeah, this is an easy place on the tier maker for me, I think.
Yeah, like the only thing that gives me some pause is that, like, George has drafted with the assumption that Lucky Radibi will be starting games. I think there's the possibility that his manager doesn't quite get the memo and plays Fekir up front and then brings in, you know, like Pedri or whoever to be the attacking midfielder, and then you start to see the quality, like the balance of the team change a bit. But even then, like Fekir and Immobile as a strike partnership is still amazing. So it's you know, if it wasn't for the fact that the Pocket Dogs exist, they would be first, and instead they're second, and that's that.
Anything you want to add in, Vince?
I don't know that I subscribe to this. I mean, I love the gobshite behind it. I don't know that I subscribe to this. I would place them very much closer to the 15 to 18 spots.
15 to 18?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Okay, so just to summarise, Vince, in the last 2 seasons alone, Ciro Immobile has scored 70 goals. 70 goals in the last 2 seasons.
Yes,
whereas, like, Benzema scored 26 in the last 4 seasons.
I'm very well aware of that. I'm just thinking that Immobile wasn't necessarily surrounded by the same players when he scored his 70 goals than he will be during this season. As much as I love Fekir, it's great, but I don't know that the combination of Fekir, Radebe, and the rest of the team is going to support Immobile in the same fashion. And he's bound to have a bad season. That's going to happen.
It's got to have a bad season. And is it going to be the bad season? We will find...
I think it's fair to call that a spicy take.
Which is...
Let's place it this way. It's a spicy take.
It's a spicy take. Well, we needed a spicy take. Let's move on from that spicy take before the entire studio studio burns down, and talk about Tiki Taka Toa. They have done. They got Pep for this season. Bruno, nice HD image. Pretty easy to read all the names, so fan of that. Right, what do we think? Vince, you're spitting fire tonight. So what have you got to say about Tiki Taka Toa?
What do I got to say? They have Ndidi, and I don't know why, but every time I see Ndidi, I have no idea what to make of it. Is he good in FM21?
Ndidi, he's usually not a first team player, but he can be.
Okay, so I guess that kind of places where we are. I don't know who Grealish is. Probably some sort of little brother to Grealish. I don't know if he plays as well as him, but if that's the case, I don't know. Vardy is good. Bruno Fernandes is good. Diaz Stone is a good pairing of certain backs. Can't remember if Onana is good in FM21 or not, but I would see them below the cut this season.
I feel like there needs to be a thicker line between Fernandes and Foden and then Ndidi, because I don't know that any of the players above that line will ever drop below it, and I don't know if any of the players below that line, other than the fullbacks, will ever get above it. He's basically playing 4-1-5.
Yeah, and Ndidi is going to have to do a lot of work to keep the better teams at bay there. But it could work. It could go horribly. But I don't think Pep's ever done that badly. And there are clearly a lot of players in this team that Pep will love to play, because there's a lot of players that Pep does play. It's basically Man City.
He's got 5 Man City players in the starting 11.
I don't see that
Do we
forward.
think it's gonna?
I don't think it's going to win the league. I just think it would be foolish not to put them in the top tier, because I think they have the best manager in the game, and that's probably going to see him through.
That's an interesting take. I don't know that managers have that much importance. I know it's been a trend in the conversations lately, but I don't know that I would subscribe to it that much. Even more when here the players that play in the same club are mainly defenders, and I don't know that the attacking unit is strong enough. But it might just be me. I understand your point, though. I do understand your point.
I mean, Pep managed Barcelona throughout the Uruguay Cup and won that cup. Pep third or second again in the 34 Cup. I don't think we can make the argument that managers don't necessarily matter when it comes to this specific manager.
It's worth saying also, Pep has never finished any season. A Pep managed team in Gobshite has never finished lower than 7th. That's the worst they've ever done.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm happy to be proven wrong this season. I believe in my personal ranking, I might place them lower than that.
That's fair. And to be fair, I do think that this team has suffered for the fact that Mike took Pep round 1. It was after all of the super duper these players are guaranteed to get you 30 goals or whatever players had gone, but there was still a lot of very good players that Mike had to pass up to get Pep. I will say I think Bruno Fernandes is an incredible get for a round 2 pick. I think he is going to be a really good player for Mike to have on lock for this entire cycle.
Yeah, sorry, just laughing at Reese. Pep round 1 was an odd choice. Bruno round 2 was a fucking great choice. We'll see how Bruno plus City do in the league, but for now I place them in the tier maker in just a casual 6, 7, 8 area. They might even be better than Sirs and BBC, but we'll find out. And we've not got that many more teams to do. Los Rios. What do we think? Pretty good starting lineup. Not the greatest, not the fastest centre backs in the world with Hummels and Maguire, but decent centre backs. Difficult to look at because of the kit on the field, but yeah. James, do you wanna go in on Los Rios?
I mean, they're annoyingly good, right?
Yeah.
Like the Suarez, Neymar, and a player who's can play up front or on the right, whose name begins with M. That's been proven to be pretty effective in the past. And Alexander-Arnold, bombing down the right is obviously going to be great. Like you look at that team and you think they're going to be able to score goals. I do think that, as you mentioned, their defense is maybe not the soundest. In terms of Maguire and Hummels aren't super quick. Alexander-Arnold's going to be forward a lot. If any team is playing, like a bit more direct, get past the defenders, have someone running on, they're probably going to ship quite a few goals, but they're going to score so many that it almost feels like it doesn't matter.
And they're lucky that the let's run at the defenders players like Neymar and Suarez are playing on the same team as by taking Suarez and Neymar out of the pool for everyone else. It meant Adam could probably afford to get some of this, to have a slower pair of centre backs, because the two people who are going to embarrass them probably more than anyone else are out of the way. I think it's a decent team. What do we think, Vince?
I do like the team. I mean, I understand the comments regarding the defense, but when I think about exciting attacking units, this is what I think about. Neymar, Suarez, Müller in the game. That's something I'm really keen to watch the games of.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're all landing that these should be comfortably in the top half, which means we do have to drop someone. And it's probably going to be the Menace, because I think that'll be funny. And we'll drop Llamas as well. I will stick Los Rios there. I'm going to put the BBC to there. Yeah, that seems about... Yeah, that's where I'm landing for that. Right, which means we've got two more teams to place. And they're both coming in the bottom half, apparently, because that top half is stacked.
We can move stuff out for me, but you can...
Well, luckily, this is one of the easiest ones to put into place. It is, of course, Manchester. We're fucking shit. I hate this team so much. What was I thinking? Yeah. It's just rubbish, isn't it?
So, just remind me, you decided to go for the wheel.
Yeah.
To choose the players you'd have this season.
Yeah.
Today you are not the biggest fan of it, but are there any of the picks there that you're happy you got from the wheel?
I don't mind.
Once he fixed the wheel for.
Yeah, I don't mind Pjanic, and I don't mind Muriel. This team is bad. Yeah, there's no. It's going nowhere. I like the midfield too. Yeah, this is. I'm just grateful that Hadley has taken a load of pensioners.
I am genuinely interested to see how Muriel does as a lone striker, as a starting striker, because I don't think he's actually had that yet. Unfortunately, the three players behind him aren't exactly the ones who you think will necessarily get the best out of him. And yeah, I mean, the defence is what it is.
Yeah, and it's probably not going to be Mkhitaryan in the 10 role. It's going to be the man you don't want in that position. Of course, Raul Garcia made his way to us again. Yeah, let's just not prolong this any further and stick him in 19th, and we can start talking about Halfman and the Halfman, not the Martyrs. What are you called now? Pythons.
Python. Yeah.
rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Half Man United. What do we think? James, you can go first.
I think having the two in midfield with Odegaard is an interesting choice. I mean, up front, you got Big Bob, you've got Bilva. Like, there's potential that it'll do stuff. I don't know. It just kind of looks like a team that will miss the cut to me. But I don't like doing that because I like Todd's teams. I like the team. I just don't think it will do well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As in, James Rodriguez, you want to think he fits in the teams because it just is where he should play, like, and surrounded by the right players. But he hasn't had one good season, has he?
I will have a quick look.
That's one of the biggest all-time shat the bed for Weasels front fours, which I quite like. Yeah.
Tadic in season 4 scored 8 goals, and that's the most goals he's scored in any season.
Yeah.
But James in season 5 scored 5 goals, and that's the most he's scored in any season. So it's fine.
Yeah. So that's a lot of productivity from Tadic and Hummus. Bilba, as I've called him. No disrespect to the Manchester City player, just an accident. Right. They're not very good, are they? Let's whack them in that 15, 16, 17 and move on. Unless anyone wants to put them higher, but I think that's about there.
Yeah, I mean, I would put them above Label de la Foot at least, but
your midfield's too good to go lower than that, I think, Vince.
Okay, I'll take that.
Although, having said that, I do want to put the Pythons above you, so...
Well, we'll finish now then with the Pythons. Well, like I said to Vince, James, explain yourself. What's this team?
It's amazing, obviously.
Right,
That's primarily. So, I feel like it's fine to out this now, because it would be such an amazing bit of hubris when we just shit the bed and I get sad.
Yeah.
So, what I asked Reese to do for me was to give me screen grabs of detailed stats of every team in every season of FM21.
Okay.
I then underestimated how long it would take to enter all that in some spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And so only actually used stats from the last 2 seasons of FM21, which is a much smaller and less effective sample size to do Moneyball from.
Yeah.
However, I then still did Moneyball from it anyway, and took players that I thought performed really well in like all of the parts of roles that I thought would be important for having a cohesive 4-4-2 team. So Isaac has been incredible despite playing for Half-Man in the season where Half-Man were just some Nords and Frankie the Viking.
Yeah.
Salah is great every season, that's obvious. Tony Kroos has had more assists than anyone else in the last 2 seasons. Koke does lots of running and tackles and interceptions and all that shit, as well as having loads of passes completed. Sancho puts in loads of crosses and also runs loads and gets tackles and interceptions. Coman, same deal, but even more tackles and interceptions. Guerrero, most crosses completed of anyone by quite a long distance, despite spending an entire season playing for the kids. Reece James by stats is like one of the very, very best fullbacks in FM21, and his like attributes don't back that up at all, but his stats are just incredible based on the incredibly small sample size that I'm using. Benatia and Zuma are both really good at headers. I didn't really want to do too much more fancy shit with my centre-backs. I just want them to be able to withstand sieges on the goal so that we can then spring forward attacks play through balls or play down the line and cross in for Isaac and Salah. And Kasper Schmeichel, Reece didn't ever bother to do the goalkeeper stats for me, so I just took someone who I felt like does quite well. And that's my team.
That's your team. Cool. Well, that was a lot of waffle. What do you think, Vince?
I have to say I love the message. I can only imagine the amount of work that is required just to prepare that as a sample size, as you said. But I love the idea, and I wish that you'll do it again for the last season of FM22. But happy to help. I'm happy to help when it comes to it, just to enter the data and see what comes out of it. Now, I understand that the players you've selected are technically performing in FM21. But I have to say, when I look at the team here, I don't see a league winner. I do see a team that will be somewhere middle of the pack. As much as Salah is great, I can't remember Isaac being as good as the stats he's had. So it's probably just my impression. I guess the stats just back your decisions, of course. But I would mark it somewhere between 8 to 12.
For what it's worth on Isaac and Salah, Isaac has scored as many goals as Salah has in the last 2 seasons in fewer games, despite not being on penalties.
Yep. I'm not contradicting this. I'm curious to see. Maybe it's the case, and maybe you'll just the Bisons will just roll over season 10. But yeah, I don't know. When I look at a team like this, I understand the process. I understand the method, and I'm absolutely excited by it. And I just want to give my view on the team without the backing of the data you have.
Yeah, that's completely
And my view is somewhere 8 to 12, and I'm curious to see where the data will take.
Like, genuinely, I think we could finish as low as 15th or as high as second behind the Dogs, and it wouldn't surprise me. Like, I feel like this approach is gonna do a very good job, one way or another, of demonstrating how random Football Manager can be.
Yeah, I think that's decent. The only thing I would add is that I just 4-4-2 just really, really worries me, and I think there's a reason it very, very rarely gets played, and when it does get played well. We'll just have to see, is the pairing of Cruz and Koke enough to outmuscle the 3-man midfields?
The 4-4-2 is an interesting one because, basically it looked like all of the teams that do really well either have Ciro Immobile or have 2 up top.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to have a formation where I'd have 2 strikers, and I didn't want to have to fight with everyone else for 3 centre-backs, because I'm so bored of having teams where I've had 3 centre-backs that I was just like, no, we're playing 4 at the back and we're playing 2 strikers.
Which leaves us...
greatly limits my formation.
So, well, we'll find out. I've put you in the 12th spot because you could be, like you said, you could be second or you could be 15th. So 12th seems about right. I don't know if anyone wants to argue that up or down. I'm not definitely fixed on that.
Looking at the teams we have there, and because I guess we're now in that period where we're going to see if there's a little bit of jiggle we want to do.
Yeah.
I have to say, I would put the Pythons up above the Cox, maybe up above Millwall, and I would bring Arbor with them. I do really like that Arbor team. Wow,
we'll put a Millwall on the bubble. 12, famously the middle point of 2 and 15. Yeah, I don't know what point you're making there, Reece. It definitely is. All right, we'll bump you up that little bit higher, up to 9th. Arbor Eden there. Is there any other wiggling that we want to do, or are we reasonably happy to compromise that this is the tier maker for our combined efforts?
Yeah, I'm sure when the 3 of us make our own ones, there'll be at least 1 team each that's very different in terms of where they're placed. But I think as far as a rough approximation of our collective opinions, sure, that'll do.
Cool. In which case, I'm going to hit this, where is it? Save download button. Save image as preview show prediction. We will get the we'll get this link shared out so that everyone else can do their own. Liam is once again fuming that we've underrated him, which means we've done one of our jobs. Calvin is fuming that we've overrated him, which means we've done another one of our jobs. Reese is accusing Vince of being on crack, which is the third thing on the bingo card that we've ticked off.
Well, that's the point. Who do we have one spot above the Ducks? Does Reese think they're good?
We have the Manx.
Fine.
Yeah, so I think...
Yeah,
did you want to make one last point, Vince?
I do think the Ducks are a bit tired, but again, that's, as you said...
to better represent Vince, since we overruled him on the Pocket Dogs and on the Weasels, how about to make Vince feel better, we move the Ducks down so they're one below Adam?
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, same.
That's a good compromise.
Yeah, save as preview show V2. Anyway, that's what we're doing. We will share the link to make your own. And I think all I've got left to say for that is thank you everyone for commenting and watching along with us and putting up with this nonsense. And thank you, James, and thank you, Vince, for taking the time and coming to chat. Yeah, hope you had a good time.
Oh,
thank you, mate, as well.
Maybe just one last thing. I have prepared the results of the rankings from the previous season, and actually, if you have 5 minutes, I can just share them on the stream now as a surprise ending.
Yeah, that would be good.
Is the easiest way for me to share my screen and for you to stream from Discord?
Yes. Let me go on to here. I will
While you're doing that, I will take a moment to just say to Vince especially, congratulations on having the time to do all this stuff despite the fact that, just out of shot you've got a baby screaming away. Screaming and pooing and screaming.
Again, it's my pleasure and my privilege in both cases. And I have to say, yeah, this time I did it later than expected. We'll see. Maybe next season I'll be able to do that on time.
Cool.
Can you see my screen?
I can see your face. I can't see your screen.
Okay. This is what I want to do. All visible windows and screens will be shared. I want to allow this, and for some reason it won't work. Is that it? Turn off camera, share my screen. Otherwise, what we can do is just I can share the link to the spreadsheet with you, and you can share it on your screen. That should work the same. It's not working for some reason. Let me just share that link with you.
Okay. I'll turn off this window capture. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the one we want. You shared a link with me. Oh.
The link will arrive on Facebook for you. Okay, there we go. If you can access the spreadsheet, and on this spreadsheet, if you can go to the Season 9 tables, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you
Season
there?
9 tables.
When you're there, and
I am on Season 9 tables now.
Excellent.
This
if you
is
can
like
scroll
the
back
moon landing. Okay.
So what we're looking at is really just that first row of rankings, and what we are interested in is the average and the median distance. Basically, we should certainly do only the average distance to start with, and we can look at the scores just there. So if I'm correct, the one with the best average distance with 4.3, just confirming. With 4.3 is definitely Johannes, who wins the predictions for Season 9.
I always feel like it's hollow when someone wins when they didn't predict Pocket Dogs first. Because everyone else is taking a hit on the fact that Pocket Dogs have been underrated by Johannes and by the match engine.
I mean, I have to say, it's a choice you make to play them first or somewhere else. That being said, a few interesting results to note. I'm just going to, if you go a bit to the right, to the very last ranking you see, you have the average over 20 seasons. That Reese shared with me, and as you can see, this is very, very much accurate. But at least this time, I don't think it was the last time we checked it. But yes, it's definitely very accurate. So I could only encourage everyone to not look at this and Reese to not do this before the end of the season, as it might spoil a bit of the fun.
I love how, other than Core, everyone who did predictions did a better job than the in-game predictions.
The in-game predictions, shit.
Interestingly as well, I'm very happy to point the results Reese has had with 5.5, which places him in the bottom part of below the cut of the predictions. And I would like to highlight this under the spectrum of everything that has been said tonight on the chat.
Yeah, I know. It looks like Reese is on average out by 5.5 spots, and you were only on average out by 4.7.
Yes,
Wow.
and again, I'd like to point out that La Boule de la Foot across 2 complete World Cups is the best team.
It looks like Reese predicted 2 of the top 3 to finish bottom 4. Am I seeing that right?
He did put Pocket Dogs in one, of course, which I didn't do. So I guess it's. I did put them third, though. So
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't getting too much out of it.
Well, that's some fascinating
yeah,
stuff. I do not remember making those predictions, but I was pretty good at it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than Nikki,
I'll
better
put
than
the
Reese.
I'll put the proper rankings together. I'll share that on the chat as well. But this way, everyone has had a look.
All right. In which case, thank you for that, Reese. Thank you for that, Vince. And yeah, we'll call it there. Thank you everyone for watching. And I think all that we're left to do now is attempting to play the jingle at the right time, or not, or just playing it anyway. Yep. All right. Bye. We're going off.